Hello everybody, my name is Soulless Convoy. I am back again with another Transformers video review after a long hiatus. This is a constant cycle, I think. This is actually my first Masterpiece review ever, so if the setup looks a little bit weird, it's the same place I always film my reviews. It's just I don't really have the space or the hardware to fit a Masterpiece figure into my setup properly, so it's going to look a bit janky. I apologize, but today we're looking at MMC's Ocular Max PS-13E Chops, which is their version of Robots in Disguise Ro-Tor or Car Robots Heptor. This figure was a TFCon exclusive, but it's actually mass release. It was just previewed at TFCon. So a friend of mine picked it up for me. It should be going up at a lot of stores soon. Here's a look at the box, art on the front, and then art on the back, etc. In terms of what comes with the box, he's basically wearing all of it. You know, he's got his two guns on his forearms and the pistol. The box also comes with an instruction booklet, tech spec reader for the back of the box, and because there was an issue, he has his own card, and because there was an issue with Shiftlane's card on the first release, he comes with a replacement card for Shiftlane that has the proper package bio and isn't just copied from swindles. So getting into the review, let's take a look at the figure. Let me get in close on the head sculpt. There's going to be some growing pains because I'm not used yet to Masterpiece figures. So taking a look at the head, it's painted really well with this gorgeous shade of, I think it's like a creamish, almost custard visor. It looks really nice. I'm really a fan of it. It's got some fantastic range of the head as well. There's also this retooled chest, which looks really nice. With a really nice shade of orange paint, and then red paint and red plastic, white paint. There's not much paint on this guy. All this blue that you see, this navy blue, is all just bare plastic, but it's a really nice shade of navy blue, so it's actually really appealing to the eye. The silver is painted really well for the windows. It has like a natural gloss in the middle to give it the idea of like a, I guess almost like a reflective sheen. And it looks really well. I usually prefer clear windows, but this looks great. Proportionally, he has some proportional issues. I feel like these arms look a little bit weird, and then like his hips have like those well-documented all-in-one MMC waist hip issue, where like if you don't pose this correctly, right? If you pull up this hip, we'll get into this in a second when I do articulation. I'm sorry, my finger's in the wrong place. If you pull this up, you'll notice that he has this weird assembly going on. So if you don't pose this properly, you can make it look like his hips are super narrow. But as long as you pose it properly, you shouldn't really have that issue. The lower legs are kind of where you start to realize he's a bit compromised for the all-in-one gimmick, because he turns into a complete combiner arm, complete with the fist included. So the lower legs do feel a bit unfinished in retrospect, but you can always flip these parts down. Can you? I don't know. I leave them up just because they interfere less with posing when they're up, but I guess if you really wanted to, you could probably fill that gap. I don't really care enough to do so. I'm not super pressed about it. So yeah, he looks great. Let's get into his articulation. So let me just put it right there. So the head, you've got the, there's a ball joint at the base right here, which has a fantastic range. We'll get you the full 360, decent range down, and then a lot up, right? That's a great up range, especially for a flyer. There's also a hinge, so he can even bring his head further forward and look even further down, and it can just get you that, like, you know, like the you know what I'm saying? And then also there's another, it's for transformation. There's another swivel at the base here, so you can like kind of shift the position of the head, which could help for different poses, I guess. And yeah, the visor is super catching in hand, honestly. I really like how that looks. Coming down to the shoulders, there's no butterfly joints, but he does have universal shoulders, so you can get 360 around. And then, of course, 360 as long as we don't hit the rotors anyways. The bicep swivel, he has a universal bicep swivel. It has a catcher on this side if you go this way, but you can do that. So it's not a huge deal. It's just for transformation as a catch point. But this bicep swivel though is sculpted differently for an alt mode piece of kibble. So this one is limited outside. It can only go this far out. If that's a starting, it only goes that far out, and it has the same. It stops here inwards, so that's a bit weird. But I understand why. It just felt like maybe that could have been. Oops. Sorry about that. It just felt like maybe that could have been resolved in a different way. There's gonna be a lot of growing pains with the MP sections of these reviews until I can figure out a better filming setup. Forward hip skirts, side hip skirts. Right, we have all the hip skirts. I'm gonna remove his gun so I can do this better. And also I will go back to the hands in a sec. I wanted to touch on those last, actually. So he has like a bunch of hip skirts that all go out. These are a bit weird. So this hip joint here is just for locking them into robot mode. This does not move any further out. It only goes inwards. But the axis of rotation for his hips is a ratchet right there. Going outwards, you can basically get out the full 90 using this second joint. And if you have the hip skirt down, you won't notice it. So it's a bit weird, but it doesn't look too bad. So there's that. You can go the full 90. You can go back almost. And you can go forward 90. The grit kick is okay, and then but also he has a really nice ab crunch, which gets you about 45 degrees. And the good thing about this ab crunch is that it feels almost like it doesn't break the sculpt from the side. Obviously from the back you can see the gap, but I mean, from the side or from the front, it doesn't really feel like his upper torso is levitating like a lot of Transformers ab crunches tend to do. So that's pretty good. So put all those hip skirts down, put the ab crunch back in. Sometimes the ab crunch gets caught on like the sides of the helicopter mode kibble, but as long as you give it a solid push down, it goes down back to the flat position. And again, I will say these hip skirts are a bit too tight, or they don't have a lot of leverage for some reason. Knees, he has a 90-degree friction knee. There's a ratchet joint here that goes the other way for combined mode, so I don't think you could use that. I mean, you could get like one click out of it if you wanted to do like a, like one of these, but eh. And then, so 90-degree knee. The ankles, you have a toe joint that goes up. There's no other, toe joint. And then the ankle tilt, it gets you, I want to say about 25 degrees. It's not much, in all honesty. That's it. But it's okay. I mean, he's a really big base on his feet. So like even theoretically, right? And widen those up. Theoretically, even when he's like just standing up, even if you were to like spread him further, he has no issue standing with his ankle tilts like in a strange position, simply because his feet are so big overall. So that's not really an issue for him overall. So I don't really have an issue with the ankle tilts being how they are. So yeah, that's that for articulation. For accessories, actually no, wait, sorry, I forgot the hands. Wrist swivel, which is super tight. That's what I wanted to get onto. The wrist swivel is way too tight, and even the fingers feel a bit too tight. It's hard to get leverage to open them sometimes, and the thumb ball joint feels a bit tight. So there's that. He has typewriter fingers, unfortunately. So like, you get the usual, so they don't really look super natural in a lot of poses, but they can look okay holding a gun if you give them like a nice contour going that way. Accessories, he has these tiny guns. Something that my copy used to do, or I don't know if it still does it, but it did it the first time I tried to pull these out. He has two of these, one on the other side. When you try to like remove the gun, it's not doing it anymore. Let me see if it is on this side. No, okay, so they seem to be fine. I guess in the box they weren't pushed in all the way, but basically this piece is separate from this piece, and the first time you use them, these two pieces might separate, but I put them back together and they're holding. So I guess they just weren't clicked in all the way when they came out of the factory. But otherwise it seems fine. And then he just has his regular gun, which can, you know, fold the handle down. That's more for alternate mode. And it just flips out. It has a tab here. I don't really know about this as like a holding style for MP guns. I always prefer rails. But basically you kind of have to like put it there and then push it in and then close. And it holds pretty well. I mean, I have no issue with it falling out. It looks okay. It looks a bit cartoonish, but I think that's a real vibe for car robot / RD 2001. So I'm pretty chill with it. Despite his proportional differences, like his arms do look a bit weird and his legs do look a bit weird, I feel like that really adds to his like RID 2001-esque charm. He just looks like he would be from that show, or Car Robots if you prefer, right? So I am pretty happy with that. I'm gonna go straight in to size comparisons because that will be thematically accurate. So let me zoom out for a sec. Probably the most relevant size comparison, right? That's Shift Lane, his teammate, which is Rollbar / Greejeeber. And then here is New Age's depth charge. So you can see how that measures up. I don't have my Chug Deluxe with me right now, unfortunately. And here is Fans Hobby Arch Enemy, which is I think the only other Masterpiece RAD 2001 toy, and this looks fantastic. I mean, if you remove Depth Charge, who's not really thematically appropriate, but is basically my size comparison guy, this is great, right? This is pretty fantastic and just what we want from a Masterpiece RID. It's kind of crazy we're getting Masterpiece car robots. I'm gonna get him transformed. I am not gonna do the arm mode simply because I'm saving the joy of the combiner for like the whole thing at once for myself. Sorry, that sounds selfish, but I am gonna do a showcase of the helicopter mode. Here he is in his helicopter mode. I forgot what exact model of helicopter this is. I'll remember later. I might put it in the description. But oh my god. I think the most impressive thing about this conversion is not only does this helicopter mode look fantastic and has these working landing gear, by the way, it's also like the transformation is fairly easy, if not fun, at least. It's a bit complex, sure. In order to do what it does, there's a lot of steps and it obviously can't be done in 5 seconds, but compared to like movie Masterpiece transformations or a lot of third-party transformations you see, this one was actually a cakewalk for me, to be honest. In terms of accessories, I mean, oops, you can mount this this pistol in the front here, though it's a tune-accurate thing. I don't like how it looks. You just pull that out and you push this piece back up. It's not going in all the way. There you go. So there's that. You can put these guns here, but if you don't want to, you just remove them like that, put those away. In terms of play feature, obviously the rotors spin really well. That's something I was stop knocking over my camera. That's something I was like really impressed with, honestly, is that the fact that like the rotors stay in place in bot mode. Like they're not like tight or anything, they stay in place in bot mode, but they also basically spin freely in this mode, which is awesome, right? It really increases that feeling of feeling like a good helicopter. There's also the back rotor, the tail rotor, and then the landing gear is one of the things I really like about this chopper. So on chops, right? This gap right here is perfect for these wheels that just go right there. The back landing gear is a bit weird. It's red because of the chest coloring. and it just clicks in there. But this one, for some reason, is really hard to pull out. It's like the only thing on this toy I need a spudger for is this back landing gear. Just because I don't have fingernails. It's a bit... No, actually, I can do it just fine with my fingers. It just feels weird. It just really tight fit. I'm going to collapse his rotors just this way for a sec so I can show you the underside, which is frankly really clean. The only parts of this toy that like stand out from the underside are the new retooled parts to make it more toy accurate. So if this was like the actual G1 Vortex, this would be like a fantastic alt mode. And honestly, for what it is, I don't think these are actually obstructive at all. You could just say that they're just paint applications or detail for the bottom of the chopper. It's just like basic robot chest. And the detail is nondescript enough. It doesn't really break the immersion for me. So yeah, I mean, that back landing gear though is a bit tight to get out. Also, there's a bunch of stuff in the transformation that feels scary the first time, like pulling out his Ro-Tors on Ro-Tor. Also, you can like set them at different, you know, there's different like settings, which is cool. Yeah, but yeah, pulling those out for the first time was maybe a bit intimidating, but also I really apologize for all the camera issues, guys. I will get better at filming bigger toys. I'm not really good at it right now because I've only been doing Legends, so I'm gonna hope I can get better with larger objects, maybe find a different space to film, though I don't really have that luxury right now, but I will see what I can do. I mean, better lights would probably be a big help, honestly, at this point. So yeah, I mean, everything, even the engine block looks great, and the way this transforms is really fun and really satisfying. The entire tail comes out of his chest. You can go watch MGo's transformation video to see just how fun it is. Again, I need to start filming those myself. But yeah, I mean, I got this guy thanks to a friend who picked it up for me at TFCon. If you're in the States, you could probably get it from, I think, Toy Dojo or PSX if you live in Hong Kong. Otherwise, the shipping is going to be kind of expensive. But if you're anywhere else in the world, or if you're just in America and you want like a chilled pre-order, or just anywhere else, I would just recommend pre-ordering it from Show Z. I'm going to put a link in the description. You should get free worldwide shipping, so you don't have to worry about which retailer is ideal for you, because you'll get the same fair shake no matter where you order it from. So yeah, I mean, this guy looks great. Basically going to my final thoughts now. Overall, I have to be honest, I was a bit apprehensive about going in for this set. I'm not really a big MP guy, and I always thought the proportions on these guys were really weird. I was actually hoping that maybe Magic Square would do a Legend Scale Ruination from their set, but there's just a bit too much tune accuracy going on in that set for my liking, and they don't do repaints anymore anyway, so who cares, right? But yeah, I mean, this guy's pretty good. I mean, I was honestly blown away. The roll bar was kind of whatever to me, you know. I was just kind of like, I mean, this is a really fun toy. It's fun to transform. I don't really love the robot mode proportions, and you know, the alt mode's pretty good. The leg mode looks pretty lame. This guy, on the other hand, though, I can already tell the engineering for the arm is going to impress me more. I'm fully satisfied with what I paid for this guy if he just wasn't a combiner, which is crazy because I thought I'd have way more issues with it than I do. But no, I mean, it feels like a complete package as is, without even doing like the whole gimmick the toy is compromised for, which is really impressive. I think that MMC continues to make fun toys. It's just a shame sometimes they like don't put things out or, you know, cancel things or all that. I'm really happy with this guy. I think that, you know, if you do are in the market for Ruination, this won't be a bad choice at all. And thankfully, they seem to have figured out, after the HasLab campaign was so successful, that a Ruination repaint of the Bruticus won't have an issue selling. So happy they got that together. I really thought doing a G2 before Ruination was a whatever decision, but I understand. I think the G2 has more mass appeal, but Ruination's better. Not to like pit two kings against one another, right? I love G2 Bruticus. I was really wanting this for a really long time, and I'm so happy they're actually doing it. So yeah, if you're into Ruination and or Baldigus or both, because they're the same guy, definitely pick this guy up. Again, gonna put a pre-order link in the description. Just a full recommend for me, man. I mean, I have some obvious flaws with it, you know, like the weirdness of the bicep swivel on the right arm, the hollow gap in the legs, the weird hips, the really inconvenient, just the general feel of doing the transformation the first time. Getting stuff popped out, especially the rotor blades, was really scary for the first time extending them. But now it's a breeze, and I have a ton of fun flipping this guy back and forth. I'm gonna try to get back with more consistent uploads, hopefully. Maybe figure out my camera, issues for MP reviews. But yeah, this is Soulless Convoy. I'll see y'all later. I rambled again, but that's how it is. All right, everyone. Peace out. Catch y'all later.